The football celebration can be an overwhelming expression of joy, or it could just be completely stupid. Sometimes it can be both. From fishes to indecent exposure, we're going to look at the most ridiculous ways goals have been celebrated. Icelandic club Stjarnan are the kings of the funny celebration. This whole video could have been about them. We'll get to their most famous moments soon, but who could forget the time when the team assembled to create a human toilet, or the other time when they went full Transformers and morphed into a bicycle? Players often put the board under their shirt for a newborn, but they don't usually take on the role of the mother as well. And from giving life to taking it, full marks for this Rambo celebration, featuring some hand-to-hand combat, handguns, then of course automatic weapons. Then there was the one where they decided to switch sports and take up some rowing, presumably because they needed a boat to pick up the catch of a very heavy fish that was reeled in expertly by the team's star striker for this celebration. Everything from the casting, the flapping around, all the way to the post photo at the end is pulled off superbly with excellent technique. Surely, if this team spent as much time training as they did on their choreography, they'd win the Champions League with their eyes closed. Taking your shirt off as a celebration is now an offence punishable by a yellow card. But there are two players that have figured out an ingenious and a not so ingenious way of getting around this. Although it's the clever one that resulted in a red card, so you be the judge. First off, Mirko Vicinic. He's a player who likes to leave it all out on the pitch, including his clothes. In 2010, during Euro 2012 qualifying, he scored for his country of Montenegro against Switzerland, and to avoid removing his shirt, he removed his shorts instead. But he still got a yellow card for his striptease. Amazingly, this isn't the only time he's done this. The forward was playing for Juventus at the time, and he scored a penalty for his Serie A team against Pescara in 2013, and off came his bottom half again in joy. Clearly, he didn't learn his lesson, and he was booked again. Unfortunately, this second yellow was in a different game, so he didn't get sent off, sparing us all from watching this one again. Vicinic isn't alone when it comes to this kind of celebration. Muang Thong United of the Thai Premier League, and in particular their fans, were treated to the kind of behaviour you might see on the back streets of Bangkok when midfielder Mario Jurovski scored a winning goal. He took his shorts off, put them on his head, and paraded around in front of his fans. The referee didn't see the funny side of Mario's Magic Mike impression and sent him off with a second yellow. Eric Hasley's approach was a little different, but with a similar outcome. The French striker was influential in Vancouver Whitecaps' first season in the MLS. The only issue was he kept getting sent off, and picked up 3 red cards in 26 appearances for the club. His best red card was saved for a game against the New England Revolution. After scoring a penalty, he removed his shirt and threw it into the supporter section, revealing an identical shirt underneath. He must have felt smug, at least until he saw the referee, known for his love of the red card. He was more than happy to give Hasley his second yellow card of the night and his marching orders. But that's not the strangest way a player has received a red card for a celebration.
What?
In the Italian lower leagues, a game between Ponticelli and Riolo Terme took an unexpected turn. The Riolo Terme striker put his team ahead after a classic lower league goalkeeper fumble. Despite the quality of the goal, the striker acts like he's just scored a worldie, avoids his teammates, and lets his joy out on the subs bench, forcing his head through the side of it. He understandably got himself sent off and probably sent to the hospital as well. Often an explosion of rage like this can happen after the release of emotion that comes with a goal, and this is the case with our next celebration in a really bizarre way. Tamuri Ketsbaia played for Newcastle in 1998, and when the midfielder bagged an injury time winner against Bolton, he went berserk, taking his shirt off and kicking the hoardings in a way that might have looked like he really wasn't keen on advertising. Magpies legend Alan Shearer has revealed that the reason he went so crazy is because he'd been told by manager Kenny Dalglish that he was going to be benched for the game. His reaction was to throw his phone, not at the manager, but at a wall. And back in 1998, that probably did quite some damage to the wall. But the wall won, and Ketsbaia's phone was smashed to pieces, as was some of St James's Park the game the day after. If you don't know who Paul Gascoigne is, then he can be summed up pretty easily. He was a very talented footballer, he liked to drink, and he's got a great sense of humour. The next celebration combines all 3 of these things, and it's the first one of 2 that reference certain controversial off-field antics. Before Euro 96, hosted by England, the national team went on a pre-tournament tour of East Asia. This was back in the days when players used to have fun between games, and when I say fun, I mean drink. A lot, like student levels of booze. About 9 of the players decided to have a night out like this, but it was Gaza that was pictured in what looked like a consensual waterboarding incident. So when the player scored an iconic goal at Wembley against Scotland in the tournament proper, what else were his teammates going to do than surround him and squirt a water bottle into his mouth? Great goal, great celebration to match. Some honourable mentions before moving on to our last celebration, which is probably the most controversial the Premier League has ever seen. Speaking of controversy, Jamie Vardy isn't one to avoid sparking off animosity towards opposition fans. In fact, he relishes it. Whether it's cupping his ears in front of raging fans, shushing raging fans, cupping his ears again in front of raging fans, taking a bow in front of raging fans, breaking the flags of raging fans, or of course, pretending to be an eagle in front of Crystal Palace fans. A slightly more innocent bird-themed celebration came courtesy of Cody McDonald for Gillingham against Carlisle in 2014. The striker coolly dinked the ball past the keeper in a one-on-one and paid tribute to the massively popular mobile game Flappy Bird. After stopping by the corner flag to compose himself, the 21-year-old striker pretended to be the app-dwelling bird as he flapped his arms before belly flopping on the turf. It's not exactly honouring the birth of your child or a deceased relative, but each their own. We've already talked about the removal of shirts being banned for celebrations, and there's a really good reason for this. Diego Forlan. At the time, he was underperforming for Manchester United before it was cool. So when he scored a rare goal for the club, he understandably wanted to enjoy the moment. He removed his shirt and in Mario Balotelli style, struggled to dress himself afterwards. This led to the Uruguayan spending the next 3 minutes running around half naked like an indecisive player in a skins versus shirts match while chasing the opposition. FIFA didn't find this very funny, the rest of the world disagreed. FIFA might have been cheered up by Danish FC Midland striker Ken Ilso and his teammates. After scoring against FC Copenhagen, he lined up his colleagues and got a strike while making the switch from football to bowling ball. They'd obviously been watching videos of the Icelandics from earlier. Must be something about the long dark nights in Scandinavia that inspires such complicated routines. Then there's the post-goal moments that just go plain wrong. For example, Ian Robin after he struck a quality double for Bayern Munich against Braunschweig. The quality didn't extend to the celebration as he mistimed the knee slide on the pitch, bouncing up off it and ripping his thermals in the process. His manager may have given him some choice words after, which is exactly what Jimmy Bullard was honouring when he scored. Back in 2009, Bullard equalised for Hull City away at Manchester City, and sat his team down in a circle before wagging his finger at them. This was in response to his manager Phil Brown's infamous dressing down of his side on the pitch after conceding 4 first-half goals in the same fixture the season before. But there's one player that definitely got a dressing down after his celebration, and that's Robbie Fowler. In fact, it led to a 4-match ban and a £32,000 fine. The Liverpool legend was influential in beating their Merseyside rivals Everton in 1999. After scoring a penalty, Anfield went crazy as Fowler made his way over to the away end, falling on all fours and sniffing the byline in response to accusations that the player liked to partake in a little more than energy drinks to get perked up before a game. It caused uproar behind the goal and was reported to police that had to move in to quell furious Toffee fans. A further 2 games were added to his initial 4-game ban, taking it up to 6 to see out the 98-99 season. Fowler's legal representatives called the punishment unjust and disproportionate, but he did the time and as a result lost the chance of winning the Premier League's Golden Boot. But we did get one of the best celebrations out of it, so personally I think it was worth it. For more football stuff, click these things. Cheers for watching.